Welcome to Let's Talk About Wellness, the podcast from Providers for Healthy Living.
And we are so excited to have you joining us today.
Yeah, and we are diving into something that I think, honestly, everyone can relate to. I want you to picture this scenario and genuinely tell me if this hits just a little too close to home for you.
Already.
So, you finally sit down at your desk, right, to do some really deep, focused work. Or maybe it's the end of a long day, the house is miraculously quiet, and you just collapse onto the couch to relax for a minute.
Best feeling in the world.
Right. But then, out of nowhere, your phone buzzes. And you promise yourself, oh, it's just a 2-second glance. I just need to see who that is.
It is never 2 seconds.
No, because you open the notification, which, naturally leads you to click over to an app. And then suddenly, 45 minutes have vanished into thin air.
It's just completely gone.
Yeah, you've fallen entirely into this, brain rot void of short-form videos and endless scrolling. And when you finally snap out of it and look up, you don't feel rested at all.
Not even a little bit.
You emerge feeling mentally foggy, your neck is tense, and you're just honestly profoundly exhausted.
Yeah, it is incredibly common. And I want to start by validating that exact experience for anyone listening who feels, a pang of guilt right now.
I think a lot of us feel that guilt.
Exactly. But if you are stuck in that endless scrolling loop, we need to make one thing abundantly clear. This is not a lack of willpower on your part.
It's not.
No, not at all. It is actually a physiological condition. Your brain and your nervous system are reacting exactly the way they were engineered to react when placed in this specific digital environment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the actual neuroscience of why our screens exhaust us so deeply. We're going to explore the mechanics of digital burnout, and more importantly, we're going to walk through 3 realistic, highly practical habits to protect your focus and your sleep.
Which is a massive relief because trying to live in the modern world without a smartphone is basically impossible. We aren't going to tell you to throw your phone in the ocean.
Definitely not.
But I do have to push back a little bit right out of the gate here.
Go for it.
Because when we talk about checking a text message or a quick email during the workday, it just feels like basic multitasking.
Right. The classic multitasking myth.
Yeah. I mean, I do it constantly. I hear the ping on my laptop. I glance at the email. I fire off a quick response, and then I jump right back into whatever spreadsheet or report I was working on.
Feels seamless.
Exactly. It's just a few seconds of my time. Are we really saying a 3-second distraction costs me something substantial?
That is the core of the illusion we all live under in the modern workplace. We genuinely believe it's just a few seconds.
Because it is literally just 3 seconds.
On the clock, sure. But from a cognitive and neurological perspective, checking that email is never just a few seconds.
Okay, then what is it?
Well, there is a well-documented concept in psychology known as the 23-minute rule.
23 minutes.
Yeah, when researchers study workplace focus, they find that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully regain your state of deep focus after an interruption.
Wait, hold on. 23 minutes from one single glance at a message.
Yep, every single time.
That means if I check my phone 3 times in an hour, I am essentially never in a state of deep focus.
You're permanently in a shallow state of cognitive processing. Every single time you shift your attention away from your primary task, your brain has to undergo this massive, energy-intensive shift.
Like changing gears.
Exactly. It's called task switching. You have to recall the context of the new message, figure out how to respond, and then pivot back.
Right.
And when you switch back to your original spreadsheet, you bring something with you called attention residue.
Attention residue. That sounds like something you need to scrub off the kitchen counter.
I mean, it kind of is, but for your brain.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me.
Let's use an everyday analogy. Think of your brain like a computer browser.
Okay, I'm following.
Attention residue is what happens when you have way too many tabs open at the same time.
Oh, I am so guilty of that.
Right. So you might be actively looking at your Word document. That's the main tab you have pulled up on the screen.
Got it.
But that quick email you just checked, that is now a tab left open in the background.
Oh, I see.
The funny video your friend texted you, another open tab.
And they just keep adding up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't actively looking at those background tabs, they don't just disappear. They are quietly eating up your computer's RAM.
Ah, the memory.
Right. They are running in the background, making your main program run slower, causing the laptop's internal fan to whir, and draining your battery incredibly fast.
Which explains why simply putting the phone face down on the desk doesn't actually work.
not at all.
Because the tabs are still open in my head. Like when I hit 2 p.m. and I feel completely depleted, it's not necessarily because the spreadsheet was that difficult. It's because my mental RAM is completely maxed out by a dozen background processes I didn't even realize I was running.
That invisible drain is exactly what leads us to digital burnout. And we really need to distinguish digital burnout from traditional workplace burnout because they operate quite differently.
Wait, so it's different from just hating your job?
Completely.
Yeah.
Traditional burnout is usually emotional and situational. It's about feeling a lack of autonomy or dealing with a toxic boss or fundamentally hating the work you do.
So what is digital burnout then?
Digital burnout is physiological. It is a state of chronic, deep exhaustion caused by constant connectivity.
Constant connectivity.
Yeah, that constant pinging prevents your nervous system from ever completing its natural stress recovery cycles.
A stress recovery cycle. So, meaning our bodies are designed to experience stress, handle the threat, and then naturally reset to a calm baseline.
Precisely. Let's compare your nervous system to a car.
Okay, I can picture that.
Your sympathetic nervous system, which handles stress, alertness, and action, that's the gas pedal.
The gas pedal, got it.
And your parasympathetic nervous system, which handles rest, digestion, and recovery, that is the brakes.
Okay, gas and brakes. Makes sense.
Right. So for almost all of human history, we would hit the gas when there was an immediate threat, like, a predator.
A saber-toothed tiger or something.
Exactly. We'd deal with it, and then we'd hit the brakes when we were safe back in the cave. The cycle would complete itself.
We reset to baseline.
Precisely. But constant digital connectivity, so the emails, the news alerts, the social media notifications, it means you're driving the car with one foot slammed on the gas pedal.
Oh, wow.
And the other foot is riding the brakes.
So you're pressing both at the same time.
Yes. Your brain is stuck in this perpetual state of low-grade threat detection. You never get to take your foot off the gas, and eventually the engine just burns out.
Driving with both feet pressed down simultaneously. I mean, no wonder we feel that physical tension in our shoulders all the time.
Exactly.
But this brings up a massive contradiction that I really struggle to understand.
What's that?
If this behavior is so exhausting, like if driving like this is actively destroying our internal engines, why on earth do we keep doing it?
That's the big question, right?
I mean, why do we sit in bed and doom scroll until 1 in the morning, even when the news or the videos we're watching make us feel absolutely miserable?
Well, to understand why we can't just stop, we have to talk about a behavioral psychology concept called intermittent reinforcement.
Intermittent reinforcement. Okay, what is that?
It is the science of unpredictable rewards. The developers behind social media platforms and news feeds have engineered your digital experience using the exact same psychological mechanism as a casino slot machine.
Wait, really? A slot machine?
Completely. Think about how a slot machine works.
You put in a coin and pull the lever.
Right, and when you pull that lever, you do not know if you're going to get a massive jackpot, a tiny payout, or just a complete dud.
You have no idea what's coming.
And that unpredictability is crucial. It creates a massive spike in dopamine in your brain just from the anticipation of what might happen.
Oh, I see.
So when you pick up your phone and physically drag your thumb down the screen to refresh your feed, you are pulling the lever.
So we're essentially walking around with a slot machine in our pockets all day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know if the very next video is going to be hilarious, which is a jackpot, or if it's going to be boring, or perhaps something genuinely enraging.
That sheer unpredictability is what keeps us hooked.
Yes. The human brain is constantly chasing that next hit of dopamine.
The anticipation is the hook, but what actually makes us reach into our pockets to pull the lever in the first place?
What do you mean?
I mean, I rarely walk around my house consciously thinking, wow, I really need a complex dopamine anticipation loop right now.
Yeah.
I just suddenly find the phone in my hand.
And that automatic reach points to the hidden trigger behind almost all of our scrolling. Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah. We very rarely pick up our phones when we are truly calm, present, and content in our environment. We almost always pick them up to escape something.
We're picking them up to escape.
Right. We scroll to escape the discomfort of boredom, to avoid a feeling of restlessness, or just to distract ourselves from an uncomfortable thought or an anxious feeling that's simmering in the background of our minds.
So we're using the screen as a digital numbing agent.
Exactly.
But there is a really tragic irony here, I think. We are turning to our phones to escape our baseline anxiety.
Right.
But the content we actually end up consuming, like the polarized news, the angry comment sections, the endless comparison trap of seeing everyone else's highlight reel, it just spikes our stress
It
hormones.
floods your body with cortisol,
We're actively looking for relief, but we're inadvertently generating more anxiety.
which then makes you want to scroll even more to numb the brand new anxiety you just created.
It's a vicious loop.
It is a closed biological loop. And this is exactly why simply telling yourself, I'm going to spend less time on my phone today, almost always fails.
Hmm.
People try to rely on pure willpower to break the habit.
Because willpower just isn't enough.
Not when you are stressed. When you are flooded with cortisol, your brain physically changes how it operates. The prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, forward-thinking, decision-making part of your brain, it essentially shuts down.
Wait, the logical part of the brain just goes offline?
Yes. Let's use another analogy to make sense of it.
Please do, because I think people beat themselves up a lot over this.
Think of your prefrontal cortex as the highly logical, highly responsible CEO of your brain.
The CEO, okay.
The CEO makes good long-term decisions, like deciding to go to sleep at 10 p.m.
A very sensible CEO.
Right. But when you get stressed or anxious, another part of your brain called the amygdala, which is your primitive emotion and fear center, it acts like a blaring red alert fire alarm.
Okay, the survival center.
Exactly. When that survival alarm goes off, the amygdala essentially locks the CEO out of the building.
Wow, it just takes total control.
It takes over. You cannot rely on willpower to put the phone down because the CEO isn't in charge of your body anymore.
The fire alarm is running the show.
And the fire alarm just wants immediate short-term relief.
The CEO is locked out of the building. That completely reframes those late-night scrolling binges. You know you should go to sleep, you are begging yourself to put the phone on the nightstand, but your thumb just keeps swiping.
Your logical brain literally doesn't have the security clearance to stop your hand.
And because your nervous system is stuck in this hypervigilant state, it doesn't just stay in your head, right? Like, our physical bodies have to absorb that lingering stress.
The body always keeps the score. Because your nervous system is trapped on alert, your physical form registers this as an overload.
So it physically hurts us.
It does. One of the most prevalent ways this manifests clinically is through computer vision syndrome.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and this isn't just having tired eyes at the end of the day. It involves severe eye strain, chronically dry eyes because we blink significantly less when looking at screens, and these very specific tight tension headaches that wrap entirely around your forehead like a heavy band.
I think a lot of people know exactly the headache you're talking about. It feels like a vice grip right above the eyebrows, usually hitting around 3 p.m.
Yes, that's the physical manifestation of the cognitive strain. And there's another fascinating, slightly alarming behavioral symptom we're seeing more of called phantom scrolling.
Phantom scrolling.
This happens when your brain becomes so conditioned to the rapid, ultra-short form video format that when you try to interact with something slow, like reading a static page in a physical book or a long-form article, you actually feel a physical urge or a twitch in your thumb to swipe up.
Oh my gosh.
Your brain is literally crying out for that fast-paced visual stimulation.
Feeling a physical twitch to swipe a paper book? I mean, that is wild and a little terrifying, honestly.
It really is.
And because we are talking about absorbing all of this stress and how it impacts us physically, I just want to pause for a second. For those of you listening in Ohio who are looking for a safe space and professional support, you can find us at providersforhealthyliving.com.
It is so crucial to have those resources, especially when the physical and emotional toll starts to feel entirely overwhelming. Because this burnout doesn't just isolate itself to our own bodies.
It affects other people.
It aggressively bleeds into our relationships.
Right. Which brings us to a term that I've been hearing everywhere lately. Phubbing, like phone-snubbing.
Oh, phubbing. We've all likely been on both sides of that.
Definitely. It's that incredibly frustrating moment when you're, mid-conversation with your partner.
Yeah.
Or sitting across from a friend at dinner, and they just pull out their phone and start scrolling.
Completely checking out of the interaction.
Exactly. But it's more than just annoying, right?
What the research tells us is that phubbing doesn't just cause a momentary flash of annoyance or hurt feelings. The perceived stress from being constantly phubbed by a partner actually diminishes overall relationship satisfaction over the long term.
It hurts the relationship.
It actively erodes emotional intimacy. And incredibly, the data shows it actively harms the sleep quality of both people involved.
Both people.
Yes. The stress of that subtle disconnection lingers in the nervous system long after the lights go out.
So my partner ignoring me for their phone at dinner means neither of us is going to sleep well that night. That is a massive ripple effect.
Furthermore, This state of constant digital distraction destroys something called cognitive flexibility.
Cognitive flexibility.
Yeah, that is your brain's ability to seamlessly adapt to new unexpected situations,
Okay.
or to just pivot when plans change. And recent studies have highlighted a severe drop in this flexibility,
Okay.
especially particularly in young females experiencing digital burnout.
So they can't handle sudden changes.
Right. Their ability to handle everyday stressors or manage multiple concepts at once, it becomes severely impaired because their cognitive resources, their mental RAM, is just completely tapped out.
I don't have the bandwidth to pivot because all the background tabs are eating up the energy. Okay, we have painted a fairly intense picture here. The internal engine is burning out, the CEO is locked out of the building, we're twitching to swipe physical books, and we're phubbing the people we love. We need a blueprint.
We do.
Like, how do we actually fix this? How do we prevent digital burnout while still actively participating in a modern world where we need our devices for work and connection?
Well, we can't abandon the digital world, and we don't have to. We just
Ugh.
need to implement structural boundaries that hand the keys back to the CEO of your brain.
Okay, I love that. So what is the blueprint?
Here are 3 clear, practical habits you can start today to rewire your brain and significantly reduce that daily screen time.
Okay, habit number 1, let's hear it.
Habit number 1 is what I call the 5-second body check.
The 5-second body check.
Remember, we scroll to escape uncomfortable feelings. So, the next time you feel that automatic magnetic urge to reach for your phone in an elevator or on the couch, I want you to force a pause for just 5 seconds before you physically touch the device.
Just 5 seconds.
Yes. Ask yourself, what am I feeling in my body right now? Acknowledge if there is a tightness in your chest, if you feel a wave of anxiety, or if you are simply just bored.
Which sounds easy in theory, but in practice, interrupting that autopilot is incredibly difficult. Like, the reach is so deeply ingrained in muscle memory.
It is difficult, which is why it requires conscious practice. Let's use an analogy. It's exactly like checking the weather out the window before you get dressed in the morning, rather than walking blindly out your front door into a thunderstorm.
Checking the internal weather. I really like that framing.
By pausing for 5 seconds, you are taking a moment to assess your internal environment so you can make a conscious CEO-level choice rather than a reactive, amygdala-driven one.
So if I realize I'm just anxious, I can choose to take a deep breath instead of pulling the slot machine lever.
Exactly. You get the choice back.
All right, what is habit number 2?
Habit number 2 addresses the workday. It's utilizing time blocking and the Pomodoro technique.
Oh, I've heard of that.
We know that the 23-minute attention residue tax is absolutely destroying our focus and draining our RAM. So we have to create structured boundaries to protect against it.
Okay, how do we do that?
The goal is to work completely uninterrupted for 25 minutes and then take a deliberate 5-minute offline break. Stand up, stretch, look out a window, get a glass of water, do not look at another screen.
So the 25 minutes has to be uninterrupted.
Yes. Work completely uninterrupted. No Slack, no email, no phone. This creates a safe container for your focus and physically prevents those open digital tabs from accumulating and draining your energy.
25 minutes of true, uninterrupted focus is actually incredibly rare for most office workers today. It might feel uncomfortable at first.
It takes genuine practice to sit with that level of focus.
I bet.
And that leads directly into habit number 3. You must replace passive scrolling with intentional hobbies.
So we can't just quit cold turkey.
No, the human brain hates a vacuum. If you just try to sit there and stop scrolling, your anxiety will likely spike. Instead, you need to actively curate your digital environment so the algorithm works for you.
Like unfollowing things.
Unfollow the accounts that stress you out and follow educators, artists, or content that actually inspires you. But more importantly, actively reintroduce long-form media back into your life.
Meaning we have to train ourselves to consume things slowly again.
Exactly. Read a physical book, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Listen to a full-length podcast deep dive while taking a walk without looking at a screen. You have to gently, patiently retrain your attention span to tolerate and eventually enjoy a slower, deeper pace of information.
It's essentially taking our brains to physical therapy to rebuild that attention muscle. That makes a lot of sense. But I have to ask for some really specific tactical advice here, particularly regarding notifications.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge part of this.
Because even if I time block my 25 minutes and I try to check my internal weather, my phone is still going to beep, flash, and buzz from across the room trying to pull me back in.
It's designed to interrupt you.
Right. So how do we set hard boundaries with the device itself to protect our focus and our sleep?
This is a crucial step. You have to perform a strict, uncompromising notification audit.
An audit. That sounds serious.
It is. You need to go into your phone's settings today and turn off all push alerts except for direct, synchronous human communication.
So, meaning what exactly?
That means text messages from real people or actual phone calls. Everything else gets turned off permanently.
Everything, like social media likes, breaking news, emails.
All of it. Think of it this way. Treat your phone's notification screen like a VIP bouncer at a highly exclusive club.
Okay, I love this visual.
Only the absolute most critical emergencies get past the velvet rope to interrupt your day.
So a call from my kid's school gets past the bouncer.
Yes, but everything else, every app update, every targeted ad, every single newsletter has to wait outside in the cold.
Until I decide to let them in.
Exactly. They wait until you decide you are ready to open the door and let them in on your own schedule.
The VIP bouncer analogy is brilliant.
Yeah.
I am definitely firing about 90% of the apps currently on my VIP list.
You should fire them. There is no reason a food delivery app needs to interrupt your deep work.
Completely agree.
And the second part of that boundary is establishing strict, device-free zones in your daily life. This is non-negotiable for physiological recovery.
Like where? The bedroom.
Yes. The first hour after you wake up and the last hour before you go to bed need to be entirely screen-free, and you must keep the phone out of the bedroom entirely.
But what about my alarm?
Buy a cheap $10 digital alarm clock. When your phone is sitting on the nightstand, even if it's silenced, your brain stays in that state of hypervigilance, unconsciously waiting for the next ping.
Just waiting for the ping.
Removing it physically from the room signals to your nervous system that the threat is gone, and it is finally safe to hit the brakes and sleep.
Taking the phone completely out of the bedroom is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, but hearing the actual neuroscience behind why its mere presence ruins our rest makes it feel a lot more necessary.
It is completely necessary for your health. I want to summarize all of this with a core message of grace for anyone listening.
I think we all need that.
If you are struggling heavily with your screen time, if looking at your weekly screen time report makes you cringe with guilt, please know that you are not broken. You are not failing.
That is so good to hear.
Your brain is reacting exactly as it was evolutionarily designed to react. It is simply seeking reward and avoiding pain, but it's doing so in a highly unnatural, highly engineered digital environment that was designed to exploit those instincts.
We're just up against a lot.
We are. But you have the power to rebuild these boundaries, give the keys back to your logical brain, and reclaim your attention.
That is a deeply comforting perspective. It takes the heavy shame right out of the equation.
I hope so.
And I want to leave everyone with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder as you go about your week. The next time you find yourself automatically reaching for your phone, like when you're standing in line at the grocery store, or just sitting in silence on the couch, pause and ask yourself what you are actually trying to avoid in that exact moment. What if the boredom or the quiet silence that we are so desperately trying to escape is actually the birthplace of our best, most creative ideas?
That is a beautiful way to look at it.
If this conversation helped you today, please follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people in our community find these resources. We'll talk to you next time.